This episode is brought to you by twolinedmusichutstore.com. Twolinedmusichutstore.com is your all-access to culture. Check out cultural merchandise like leggings, hats, mini boxing gloves, and bags. Also t-shirts like hip-hop, nature, rock bands, reggae, and dark fantasy. Fast shipping worldwide. That's twolinedmusichutstore.com. Now let's check out this episode. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Muscle, and this is another Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast. And today we have a really special guest in the building. Listen, this man is a distinguished band leader, songwriter, solo artist, music producer, and arranger, and the inventor of art, rhythm, and pop. Listen, this man has over 3 decades in the music business. He signed to 5 major labels. He's been in the Guinness Book of World Records. You know, we have in the building today, we have Mr. Jack Radicks in the building today. What's going on, big boss?
Oh, Marcel, what an intro. All is well. Let love reign and let Jah be praised. Nice to be in the building.
Thank you so very much for joining us here on the Entertainment Report podcast today.
Okay, well, it's a pleasure to be on the ER podcast.
All right, thank you. On this podcast, we like to go right from the beginning and then bring it right up to 2021. So my first question for you is this. Where do you grow up in Jamaica, and what type of child were you?
Well, I grew up in Kingston 6 in Ligani in Jamaica. And my folks will tell you that I was a problem child because I was an opinionated so-and-so, and yeah.
You always, I guess you were also inquisitive. You always wanted to know?
Exactly. Because always, every time I get sent to the headmaster, he would say, "You again?" And I'd say, "Sir, why am I here? To learn or to be taught?" And he would say, "Go to your class."
I hear that. Okay, so then now you're growing up in Ligani and stuff. You're an inquisitive child. What did you think you were going to be growing up? What type of field do you think you were going to get into?
Well, I actually wanted to be an aeronautical engineer because, I love engines and the mechanics of things in life. I mean, I never envisioned music. Yeah.
That was not... So then when did music start to creep into your life? When did you discover your voice? Say, hey, I could do something with this here.
Well, I always had to sing, school, church, what, to the point where it would get on my nerves, because when I want to carry my girl go matinee, the matinee about rehearsal and kind of sitting. But, my friends wouldn't leave me alone, saying we should start a band, blah, 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 blah. And so it more or less just... it found me, it took me. Music took me. Let's say that. Music took me.
Mm-hmm. And at what point in your life did this music creep into your life and take you away?
In my, I would say, middle to late teens.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've got. Mid to late teens.
And what were you doing when it crept into your life? Did you hear other people in the area? You were listening to other musicians? What was it where you say it crept into your life and took over?
Well, I had moved to the Bahamas for a bit, and I was working as a mechanic in a gas station, and I met a girl who took me to Freeport, Bahama. And because I'm not a gambling man, the casino never really appealed to me, but I heard some music playing. Mm-hmm. So, I followed my ears around the corner, and there was this band playing Waiting in Vain, the Bob Marley song. And they were actually Slaughter and the Dread song. And I had said, "Hello, what are you doing?" The song is in A minor. And the guy said, "Well, since you know so much, why don't come sing it then?" So I took the microphone and I sang it. And I sang From Waiting in Vain to Strangers in the Night. And the manager came and said, "Boy, you want a job as a singer?" And I said, "Yes." And that was...
Just like this. So it was actually like a mishap. So you understood the keys of music from before then?
Oh yeah. I was, lead tenor in my school choir and all of these things. I mean, like I said, I felt like I was being forced into music. And if you want Jack Radicks do something, you tell him it's all right, you have to do it. But if you tell me how to do it, we have troubles. So it was one of them kind of scenarios.
One of those there. Okay, so then you sang for the band. So then what was the next move? Were you permanent with this band now in Bahamas?
I was there for a while. My girl was not amused because she had to leave me down in Freeport. But I sang there for a while, and then, they started wanting me to do, the kind of Yellowbird, tourist thing, and that wasn't too appealing. So I left, and I came back home, and on the way back home, I went to Miami, and I bought a whole band, and I brought it back home with me, and I told my friends, all right, everybody's always saying we should start a band. Well, here's a band. Let's go. And yeah, that was that.
And what was the name of that band, or this was just a band you guys were just fooling around with?
The band was called JACK Radicks originally.
Okay.
Not Roots Radix. Let's not be confused.
Mm-hmm. So what were you guys' moves? Did you guys go start to play in the areas, get into recording studios? What were your next moves now that you have this band together?
Well, naturally the North Coast, because, the hotel is like the university. It's the musical university in Jamaica. That's where everybody get to own them chops, so big. We went to the North Coast, and that's what, mushroom from one thing led to another, and then I ended up in Germany, and then, you're taking me way back now, almost like way back.
And what year are we talking about here? What year did you get back to Jamaica and form the band?
1980. Yeah, but this happened in 79, yeah. So 1980, I was back in Jamaica, formed a band. By 81, we was getting some regular gigs, in the hotel circuitry, between Moby and Ochi and blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah.
So how did you end up in Germany then?
Well, I met a German guy in Montego Bay at one of our gigs who said he likes the band, but he can't afford to take us there. But if we ever get there, here's his card. We should call him. So I got there. It was so funny. I had this Air Jamaica girlfriend who, Air Jamaica used to fly Kingston, London, Frankfurt, and back. And so I was in Frankfurt with my girlfriend in a hotel, and she said to me, oh, there's a bistro in a little pub thingy on the 17th floor. Let's go up there. So I went up there, Muscle, and would you believe that there was a one-man band playing some music, and it turned out to be the same exact German guy. This guy, can you believe that?
That's wild right there.
Yeah, I mean, these things this is like a fated experience, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what happened, and I ended up with Horst. His name was Horst, and we did a lot of things in and around Germany, and his brother-in-law owned some clubs in Bulgaria, in Sofia. So we ended up in Sofia. This was before the Berlin Wall came down and all of that. So yeah, wow.
And what type of music were you singing back then?
Reggae. Reggae. Because what happened is I had a 2-track tape with Studio One and Treasure Isle rhythms that I would walk with, and so I would just string up my 2-track tape and have my AKG mic and we just sing tune.
What type of, who was it, more original or covers you were singing at this time here?
Mostly covers.
Mm-hmm. What was big in Germany at that time? Who was big? Was it more Bob Marley, or what type of song were you covering then?
Well, I was covering mostly American music, from Lou Rawls to, OJ's, blah, 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 that sort of a thing. Bob Marley was popular, but it was more like Bonnie M and stuff like that, Donna Summer, and, those were the popular things up to time.
Mm-hmm. So you're there now because remember, we just started, and from now you went from Jamaica, you were in Bahamas for a bit, you stopped in Miami, you got your instrument, then you went to Germany. So you're traveling, and this is before you even got your big break. You're just all over the place right now.
Exactly, because I'm a hind man. I'm not afraid of nothing. That's why I'm a Radix.
Mm-hmm. Got you. You know what? Before I even get to my next question, how did you get your name, JACK RADICS?
Well, I got it from school days. I mean, Radix. I was dubbed radical at school because I used to get the most detention. So that's how the name came about, Radix. And the Jack, just I did a lot of things. So people always say Jack of all trade and master, and I'm like, yeah, right.
You seem to be the rebel in your family. If you have brothers and sisters, I'm almost positive you're the rebel out of everybody.
I am. I absolutely, without a doubt about that. No question.
Yeah, you could definitely see that.
Own that 100%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you got your name from school days. In Germany now, when was the first time you actually got into a studio to record then?
Well, the first time I actually got into a studio was I had come back home to Jamaica, and Valerie Cohen, who was Tommy Cohen's ex-wife, was the late Valerie Cohen, who was my dear friend, and she actually took me to the studio, and I recorded, there was this rhythm, she boxing over there, and she bouncing over there. You know that rhythm there?
For sure.
So I had recorded, how you gonna do it if you really don't wanna dance? By standing on the wall, you get your back up, Paul. So that was my very first actual recording on Valerie's UFO label. So yeah, that was my very first time in the studio.
And that was, do you remember what year that song came out?
That was 1981, early 81.
81. Okay, and how did that do for your career? Did it start to make any traction, or how did it do?
Not really, because the thing is, the music business in Jamaica is essentially a downtown thing, and I'm an uptown youth. So when I used to go to studios, them see me, I say, "Hey, Curly, uptown boy, what you doing? Come on." Excuse me. Them would always run away, you know what I'm saying? And I remember Henry Junjo Laws, the late great Henry Junjo Laws, he said to me one day, he said, "Indian, come and let me tell you something. Don't pay them no mind, them understand where you're the boy. See where you don't stop, because they must say the word dead anytime it catch." I remember him saying that to me. And so, it took me a good little while, because I actually ended up going to England. Because I had a cousin who, there was a band in London called the Cimarrons. And the Cimarrons was the backing band that backed all of the Jamaican artists when them came up from John Wood to Ken Booth to whatever. And my cousin Frank played bass in that band. So I remember thinking, when I did my research, I realized that England was really the marketplace for the music, because no matter what we do, it was aimed at England. So I went to England. When I got to England, only to find out that if the product never said made in Jamaica, nobody never want to know. Do you know? To this day, people are making product in New York and London, and it's saying made in Jamaica for that product. You know? So, but what happened was, I would here and there get a little chance to sing a song on one of those shows. And the very same producers who used to run me, I said, "Wait, Indian, I hear the voice," and then, "Oh, you never say nothing." Boy, man. So, yeah.
So who was the first big producer that you got to actually start to record for?
Well, big producer. Well, I guess I would have to give Donovan Germain from Penthouse that credit, because I had spent most of the 80s in the UK. I'm doing a lot of live work and stuff. And then I came back home in 89, and I was doing some work down by IRFM before the radio station at Grove Broadcasting. And then I had sang Dream Merchant, which was, by the way, was the very first song played on IRFM.
Okay. Because you had done it for Barry O'Hare?
Right, Barry O'Hare and Stephen Stewart, correct, was the production entity, because it was actually Stephen Stewart. Barry was Stephen's actual apprentice at the time. Mm-hmm. And so Mr. Young, the owner of IRFM, he owned the Great House, and there was a thing that he used to do called Bono Nonus. Now, he had 7 VW vans with 7 bands that drove out of that Great House 7 nights a week to 7 different hotels. Now, I was the singer of one of those bands, right? So when they started the radio station now, the day that they called on the intercom downstairs, because studio existed before the radio station. Okay. So they was down to the studio to say, send up something because I'm ready to test the transmission. And we sent up the dot of Dream Merchant, which we just mixed, right? So that took off. But of course, being IRFM and new, and RJR and JBC, them now know about it. So but that sort of set the tone. And so I went back to Kingston, and I don't know how I got hooked up with Penthouse, but I did. And then I did This Time I'll Be Sweeter. And
okay. Before we even go into Penthouse, there's one thing that you did, and I think this was 87 with Mango Records, called Rough Life.
Ah, wow. Mm-hmm. Well, okay. My very first record deal I got in England, in London, with Mango, right? And Rough Life was the first single of that, because I was actually driving a minicab in London at the time. And I had I would always making Malika demos, and I remember I picked up this guy one night and I was playing Malika demo real low, but he was in the back and he said to me, Kenny, what's that? Turn it up. So I turned it up. So he goes, what's this? And I said, oh, some guy named Jack Radix. So he said to me when I dropped him off, he gave me his card, and so he goes, you know him? I said, yeah, I know him. So he gave me his card and he said, find your friend and give him my card and tell him to be in touch. So this was like a Friday evening. So the Monday I called him, I said, I found a guy. So he said, all right, come back Wednesday 3 o'clock. So Wednesday 3 o'clock I went, he goes, Kevin, so where's the guy? I said, you're looking at him, but today I am Jack Radix. Friday I was a cab driver. He confused here. And so the deal went. So that was my first deal with Island Records. And Rough Life and You've Got was the B-side, who actually featured in a movie that Trevor Rowan, who was Canada-based, was the producer of. And
because you actually produced that song, Rough Life.
I did, yes. I was the producer of that. And the great Tyrone Downey was the musician on that for me.
Was that your first time producing yourself or producing something?
You could say that, yes.
Okay, I know you're radical, but what went into your mind to say, you know what, I could try produce this, I could put this project together?
Well, basically it was just necessity, because, I got this deal, just by a fated experience, and, I just did what I had to do, basically, because, while I, over the decades, I've learned to manipulate certain instruments, but I wouldn't say that I'm a musician per se, but I could always tell a musician what to play with my mouth. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So basically, I know what I want to hear. When I conceive a song, I hear the finished product playing in my head, almost. Mm-hmm. I hear everything. I hear the whole thing. I don't know how to explain that, but I hear the record playing in my head. I hear every riff, every guitar lick, I hear it. So I basically just, because we're Radix and we don't afraid, we just go there.
Just like that. I hear you. All right. How did that deal work out with Island/Mango at that time there for you?
Well, you know, it was coming along, and then Bobby McFerrin did a song called "Don't Worry, Be Happy." Now, I was writing. You know, my Island album was about original material, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was writing songs like "War of Emotion" and "Rough Life," and you know. So the managing director of Island at the time, his name was Clyde Banks. He went to America and heard "Don't Worry, Be Happy," and he came back and he goes, "Radix, I have the perfect song for you to launch your career." So when he played it for me, I hear. And I'm saying, Clyde Banks, get serious. You know. So he goes, "You don't worry, you just be happy and sing this goddamn song." Right? So I was not amused, I must to tell you that. I mean, respect to his vision, because "Don't Worry, Be Happy" was a monster hit. But I also at the time I'm saying, but the song is current, you know, you don't cover something that's currently happening, you know. I mean, to me, in my head, I'm saying, give the man a chance with him song, man. You know, why do I want to jump on this man's wagon, you know, when I have, but so yeah, he was a bit perturbed that I didn't want to do the song. I was more than perturbed that he wanted me to do the song. And yeah, so the deal sort of went south from then and from that point on. And so that's when I came back home. I thought, you know what, I'm going home. So that's when I came back home, and yeah, all the other stuff happened.
Okay, and then this is where you met Donovan Germain. So then when you got to Penthouse now, do you remember which other artist was in this camp? Were you recording exclusively as a Penthouse artist, or you just did some songs for Germain?
I just did some songs because I don't remember exactly how I got to Penthouse, but I know that you know, it was Sanchez and Buju and Wayne Wonder, and because it was a juggling in the Browning. Mm-hmm. You know, me get my bike and blah blah blah. It was that juggling that was going on, and so you know, I just went in there. I heard the rhythm, and in my head I just heard, "Darling, can't you see?" So when I sang that, you know, the whole studio catch a fire like blood fire. So yeah, so that basically kick-started the whole machinery, more or less.
Right there. So then after there, because you did couple hits well with Penthouse, but then this is where you started to really go around. This is where Bobby Digital, this is where Steely and Clevie, this is where Shocking Vibes, this is where Taxi, all of them came in. So I just want to go through a bit of each of them to see how you even connected with somebody like a Bobby Digital.
Well, you know, that's the way it is, you know. Something is happening, everybody wants a piece of the action, yeah? So I think it was Dalton Brownie. Somebody took me to Bobby and said to me, somebody said, "Boy, we need to go check Bobby Digital." So I went to Bobby. No, actually it was Steely, because, all right, Lloyd Stanbury was my manager at the time. Lloyd Stanbury also managed Steely and Clevie, Garnet Silk, Half Pint, couple other people, Michigan and Smiley, Michael Rose. I can't remember the roster, but yeah. So Steely and Clevie, we were basically in the same camp. So it was Steely that took me around to Bobby, because Steely and Clevie used to make rhythm for jammies. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, Bobby Digital was Jammy's engineer before him having won a situation, so they had that. So Steely took me around to Bobby, and Bobby said to me, he want me to sing over Moving Away. So Steely made the rhythm, and I did Deep Down Inside of Me. Because when them say them want me to sing that, I say, all right, Ken Booter is one of my inspiration as a voice, you know, because even growing up, people like Eddie Kendricks, but me, I love David Ruffin, man, because, you know, I am thinking, a man should sound like a man, especially when he talk to a woman. None of this, you know. You know, no disrespect to anyone and a father. I love a father, but yeah, you know. I wish sunshine, blue sky, please. I mean, David Ruffin, I mean, Jesus. If there, to me, that's the wickedest singer ever come out of a time. It's David Ruffin, as far as.
So you got it like that. Talking about that same rhythm, they're moving away. This was when Garnet Silk had a song on the same rhythm. Did you ever interact with Garnet Silk? Because you guys were between Roof, Bobby Digital, Steely, and Clevie.
Garnet Silk, I'm a friend, man. We spent a good while under the lime tree around a mixing lab. I wait for Steely and Clevie. You know, I actually took Garnet to Roof because Courtney Cole and my sister used to go to Clarendon College, and she used to board with Courtney Cole's parents. So I know Courtney from way back, long time did. So, you know, yeah. So Garnet and I had a really nice, you know. At the time, I used to have a CB200 that I ride. So I would go pick up Garnet around at 200 Rebel Yard over Pembroke and drop him home at night time. You know what I mean? And yeah, if me not have two shung peng, we don't smoke. If me not have lunch money, we don't eat. So, you know, it was one of them scenarios. But yeah, wow. Talk about gone too soon.
Yeah, the great Garnet Silk there. Steely and Clevie, was Love Guaranteed, was that the first song you recorded for them, or that was the first hit you got for them?
That was the first song them put out because, you know what, no, Steely was all about DJing. Many a time in the night after Steely gone, Clevie would have draw in me and Garnet and we sing a one tune here and there because, you know, Steely would have spent, all right, Mrs. Steely spent 2 days advice a DJ named Penny Harry on that tune and say, sitting in she mouth and she not take it out. Boy, you have to do it. Right? I Steely that. You understand? So you never know when we have singer, a DJ in a. So it was Clevie that actually used to pay us singers the command. So yeah, it was one of them singers. So Reggie Stepper, no, he's a Barbican youth. Reggie Stepper is a Barbican youth. Steely is a Barbican youth. And so that is how the Love is Guaranteed connection came about because, you know, Reggie Stepper, I see Reggie Stepper down on the studio. And I say, wait, what I'm ready for? So same time, me I say, I had this idea in my head. It's guaranteed. Loving when she got no need, no warrant. So that was actually me. So I suggested that to Reggie, right? And so when Steely draw the rhythm, the first thing that came in my head was, you have caught me, baby. And yeah, the rest is basically our story.
Like that. Okay, so then you had recorded other songs, but that was the first one that they had actually put out for you guys, for you.
Exactly, yeah. Because even Unchanged, the Baba and the song, you know, along we have that song, the record, and Garnet sing in tune Panda Rhythm Metal, Love is the Answer. And that it wasn't after when Till Garnet died that them actually put out that song, and I recorded that song long before Till even Bobby recorded Sanchez. I do a version of that song. Long after our one upon the tape road, and enough of man I think say Sanchez sing the tune and me sing it over when them don't even know say the other way around.
This is why we like to have these conversations, these long-form conversations, because there's so many things in the business that we just hear the end product. We don't know nothing about how it came around. These stories are always so interesting to all of us.
Absolutely. Well, you know, it is the way it is because, as we say, but yeah, what is important is that at some point these works see the light of day because, you know, Bob Andy, God rest him wonderful soul, to me is one of the most prolific songwriters Jamaica has ever produced. Bob Andy is like, wow. I remember when I met Bob Andy, Muscle, I had a groupie moment. Because, you know, I couldn't believe it. And you know what? He said to me, wow, my youth, come here. We appreciate, you sing the song like how me wish me could have did sing it. He said that to me, and that moved me profoundly, because, I am thinking, here is a song that is saying, ooh, I want to hit myself, so it needs conviction muscle, you know what I'm saying? Instead of, Baba is a nice quiet team brethren, and so him sing the song with the same disposition, but a song like that require that impassionedness there, Yeah, so that's what I did. And yeah, up to the day, if I go somewhere, I'm in a perform and I sing a song that people fling things up on me.
Yeah, no, that's a big one. I remember all these songs that we're talking about came out between, I think this was between this 92 and 94 period. You had a million songs out at this time here. You were recording for the top of the top producers, putting out hit after hit after hit. Another Bobby Digital song that you did.
Yeah.
Another Bobby Digital song you did was In the Ghetto. How did you come up with that, and why did you guys decide to put that on the chim cherry at that time there?
Well, Muscle, back in them day, all me know is mixing lab 9 o'clock, Bobby Digital 10 o'clock, Anchor 11 o'clock, Shocking Vibes 12 o'clock, Penthouse 1 o'clock. That's all me know, yeah? I don't know which rhythm, know nothing till I get to the studio, yeah? Mm-hmm. And my thing is, when I get to the studio, me just link to the rhythm. By the time I don't build my split and light, the rhythm tell me where to sing. But me don't always put it other than that, because that's exactly what it happens. So when me hear the chin cherry, for instance, all me hearing in my head was, I was born and raised, and so that's what I sing. Right? From open my mouth, the studio beat up, and me I say, come advise the tune before me forget when me sing the man. So yeah, it was one of them. It was 90% of the material that I recorded in that period of time happened just like that. One and two is, when I would do original material, and then when the product come out, the producer I claim the publishing, and I say, or the printer and the label thing. So I deliberately decided, okay, I deliberately was just covering songs in order to keep my publishing intact, because if the man them want to claim off your publishing, and the publishing is the pension. Remember I said, this is a self-employed business, if you get a gold watch at age 65, you have to buy it for yourself.
Okay, so then that was intentional, because this 92 to 93, 4 time was a lot of, it was basically 90%, 95% covers you were singing at this time.
Yeah, because I wanted to establish the artist, but I couldn't give away the publishing, so I deliberately was covering songs.
Mm-hmm. One other company you brought up here was Shocking Vibes, all right? And another big song you got from them was Everybody Plays a Fool. How do you connect with Shocking Vibes now, too?
Well, Anchor, Penthouse, and Shocking Vibes was all in the same complex.
Mm-hmm.
So when I did This Time I'll Be Sweeter, and I remember something else, Patrick then sent over and sent to me and said, because actually the first song we sing with Shocking Vibe was Once My Life was Just, because I remember Tiger, actually it was Tiger, because Tiger come from Ligani, like me said. Mm-hmm. So Tiger came to my house one morning, like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I said, Tactics, because he usually call me Tactics. He must say, Tactics, put on your clothes and come to Shocking Vibe, have a rhythm down in the world. Then, so me said to him, say, go on and come, and me come. Him say, come in, I beg, no. So, Muscle, when me reach down a Shocking Vibe and the man I'm play, I'm here. Kitty. I said, hey, Tiger, I need to be out of my bed. I want to go to. The man said, yo, try find sitting and sing, because the world, what if I watch that? You don't know, I'm going to take man for. And that was so. What happened was that song was Set My Heart on Fire, Rock the Boat, that we splice up together and make one song out of. Now I remember saying to Patrick, Patrick, give me the rhythm pan and cassette there and make me go and go do some homework, and by Wednesday me come nail up something proper. By the same Monday afternoon, me hear this song on Ira FM, harmony up and everything. You said my heart, and so when me call the master boy, singer, you can't stand there. Murder. Yeah, it was that. And then that led to Everybody Plays the Fool and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah.
Crazy. Let me take you back to England now. This is when you did a production for Bunny Lila. This was another big one here. Sexy Thing.
Wow. Yeah. Well, actually, that song we recorded in Jamaica because same thing. Lila come with me. I'm a bed one morning, about 8 o'clock one morning. Because him say, him a go away in the evening, I'm flight, and Sly just give the rhythm and tell him, say, find Jack Radix, because Jack Radix will sing on that rhythm. So, just like with the Shocking Vibes, Set My Heart on Fire song, I was pissed off, because me I say, yo, at least you come with me out of my bed for them all that gloomy man. So, when we go down, where did we record that song? Down at Penthouse, correct, yeah. And so me just sing, I go, I believe in miracles. So the whole time me I sing, me piss off because I want to go back on my bed and sing. Where you from? Because I don't know, if you listen to that, well, maybe only me would have known, say, me piss off when me I sing that song. There was a venom that came with that, that even to the day, me have some go-go girl down on the grill and thing, man. I feel them song that them every time go them want to tear off all my clothes. But wicked. So yeah. Gonna lie, man. Wow.
Yeah, because I guess you were red hot in Jamaica, and I guess when you went away, because you did other recordings for Black Dread Coxon, you did stuff for a whole heap Saxon, you did a lot of stuff for English producers at that time too.
Your discography extensive, man. You do your homework, man.
This is my job, sir.
Thanks, sir. Aye, sir. I'm impressed.
That means a lot, especially coming from somebody like you that done so much. Now, this is the period that completely changes your life and put your life in a completely different direction. How do you connect with Sly and Robbie?
Well, Sly and I had a connection because Sly and Ranchy McLean, who was the original Robbie, before Robbie Shakespeare, right? There was a band, on Reddy's Road, there was a club called Tit for Tat. They had turned down the road and Tit for Tat up the road. Same Reddy's Road. No. Al Brown, that song, Here I Am, Baby, right? They had... So I usually thief out of my yard as a youth and go for Tit for Tat, go listen live music with Sly them, right? So somehow I had met Sly, and so, but over the years, we always had a vibe, and Sly and I would always be talking about music and I talk about Motown and, So we usually talk about 3 songs, me and Sly. Twist and Shout, It's Inner Kiss, and Mockingbird. So I remember now, there was a guy in London called Erskine Thompson, who usually managed Maxi Priest. Erskine then started to manage Sly then. Then one day, Erskine Thompson was in Jamaica and he sent for me to have a meeting with him down at Pegasus, and he said to me, said, Jack Radix, you know that you're the Jamaican artist with the most international potential. I want to work with you. So I remember saying to him, say, well, we're not sign nothing, generate something worth signing, and then we can talk about signing. Good. All right. So then he took me to New York to do a photo shoot. So that's my first professional photo shoot. Professional 8x10, blah, blah, blah. So I remember I had met a Japanese man named Shingo Sugiyama, who was the president of a company called VAP. Anyway, long story short, Erskine said to me to meet him in the lobby for breakfast. So on one particular morning, I was in the elevator going down to the lobby to have breakfast with Mr. Thompson, and the lift stopped on a floor, and the door opened. Who you think entered the elevator? Sly Dunbar. When the elevator locked, muscle, you know the speaker in the elevator? Through the speaker, we only hear. So me and Sly turn and look for one another. They must have blood fire radical if this and a rake a knife and park as I go home and go lick it. So anyway, we transact with business, and about 10 days later, I was still in New York, and Erskine called me and said, Radix, Sly said, anything where you had to drop it and come home. No. So that's what I did. Now, my car was parked at Norman Manley Airport, so I jumped in my car and I drive, go straight to mixing lab. When we reach a mixing lab, Sly said, wait, Radical, come. So I said, where the truth? They must say, dip on the machine and come listen. So I remember saying, no, go little bit wrong, yes, sir. So I went straight to the voice booth instead of going to the control. And we kicked that like a 35-yard free kick round the wall. So me remember, I said, boy, about it feel good. Give me a try, make we take it. Remember Rubbish for Shakespeare, I said, make we take it. Leave the studio. Leave the studio. When we go in the voice room, the man pop up and sitting and knock it down on the mixing board and say, you hear me say leave the studio. The man them refuse to give me another track must know. To this day, me not sing that song there yet because I measure it up. But, yeah, first cut at the deepest, as them say. So that was Tristan Show. Now, Anthony Red Rose, who don't get no mention or credit in this, but it was Anthony Red Rose, because Red Rose, I'm a friend. Red Rose was the one that said, why, if we ever put a DJ upon this, they were dead. We actually tried 5 DJs. Now, I'm not going to call no name. But a 5, because what happened was me and Red Rose write the DJ lyrics, and I ended up sketching it out upon the tape. So one at a time, Sly, I said, boy, Radix, you come like, you go sing and DJ the tune, man. Now I make one more call. So Sly call Chaka Demus. You see, from Chaka Demus go around the mic and say, for real, this two they mash up, say, yes, hear the man. So Sly send the song to England, to Ireland, and them hear it and they must say, why? So him call me the next day and say, boy, Radix, the man them loving no, but they must say, we have to put pliers on it. So I said, they want to take me off. He must say, no. But they must say, we have to put pliers on it because at the time, Tease Me was like number 3 in London, and they must say, they don't want it to look like the group of Mash Up Ireland. So actually, what Pliers got was Gitsy solo up to him grave Gitsy Vex. Them take him to him. So in that song, Chaka Demus actually DJ 40 bar, Pliers have 8 bar, 4 bar up there, so 4 bar down there, so, and the rest of the song is me, basically. So then now, that's what happened. Then we put on Pliers, and yeah, wow, the song actually got number 1 for my birthday, because my birthday is New Year's Eve. So I remember Erskine Thompson calling me and saying to me, happy birthday, Radix, you're number 1. And I'm like, well, all right. So, yeah.
Okay, so then it was originally you and Sly came together, came up with this concept, and then you guys added Chaka Demus Pliers. But if you even look at it from like a global part, it almost seems like from the outside looking in, you have like the smallest part in the song, even though you're the one that helped create the song in the first place.
Well, because Island Records with Demus and Pliers was signed to, they had offered me a deal, but I didn't want to take it because, them don't give people no justice, man. So I never want, So they tried to downplay me because even the artwork, we had to return the artwork so many times because you could have been able to make out my name. But that's just the politics of the business. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, because as I said, check out the song. Chaka Demus DJ 40 bar in the song. Pliers DJ 8 bar in our song, which is a 160 odd bar song. So, my song. But as I said, the record company don't play me because I wasn't interested in doing no business with them. And so, yeah.
Okay, so it was engineered. It didn't just look that way from the outside looking in. It was engineered that way.
Exactly. Yep.
Got you. So then this is a song here now that completely changed everything. You guys got into the Guinness Book of World Records for this because you guys sold, I think it was 1.8 million copies in like the first 2 weeks.
Yes, man, because actually the song should have been number one for the Christmas, but them said they didn't want a white Christmas. So it was the Christmas number one was actually Take, a group named Take That. So a boy group named Take That, they were actually the Christmas number one, and we was number one the week after. So yeah.
So then it got you into there. So then now, what did this do for your career and even everybody's career at this time here? Now, what was the next move after this song came out that was so powerful?
Well, we did a world tour. We actually we toured with UB40 on their Promises and Lies tours. We were the opening act. Japan, Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia. I mean, me done a passport. No paid, no left for stamping of that brown stupid. Yeah. And the record company, the thing, all right, two things happened was I eventually got a deal with Sony in Germany. But what happened with that Chaka Demus and Pliers them, the thing is muscle, everybody have a Bob Marley dream and would love to be the next Bob Marley, but how much people not even aware of how much work it take, how much work Bob Marley do. Man, the 3 weeks from home, a man start blah, 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 blah. And so a lot of the promotion was neglected. And so, even America, Twist and Show never got released in America for that exact reason, because them couldn't rely upon Demus and Pliers them to do the promotion. Me conduct 85% of interview by myself. On that thing there. And of the 15 that Demus and Pliers attend, them I said, so Mr. Pliers, well, you not think Mr. Radix can, so Mr. Demus, well, you not think Mr. Radix. Yeah, but it is what it is, right? But the thing is, I remember when I got my first deal with Island Records in 1985, when I went into the Island office in London, there was a wall, a big wall muscle, a big white wall, and on it was a coconut tree, which is the mango logo, yeah? And it said, if you don't promote, a terrible thing happens, right? It comes down the wall, and the terrible thing, you have to go near to see where it said, nothing, if you don't promote, nothing happens. And this is so true. You have to promote now. Certain artists, them figure say every time them go on a plane, every time them go somewhere, them have to get money. You don't get paid for promotion. You're promoting so you can get paid. But this is the thing. A lot of us are in the music business, but we don't know nothing about the business of music. And this is so sad that there is no school, nowhere where we the practitioners learn this. And I always say, look how well Jamaica do at Miss World and Miss Universe and blah. Because after the girls get selected, them get sent to have some training in deportment and speech and blah, learn how to conduct an interview, learn how to use knife and fork. We don't have none of these things. So basically, we're just thrown into the deep end. And look how much one interview turnover. Look how much career one interview turnover, because remember, say the average practitioner is a country youth or a ghetto youth. No disrespect, just reality. You know what I'm saying? So you will have management where take 25% of artist thing, and then that you requisition the questionnaire from the journalist. See what they're going to ask the artist. When you sit down and prep it, for instance. You know, so this is a sad reality of the business, and you know, I have an entity called Sound Faculty, which is in sound in the faculty of sound. So you know, this is what I would like to give back. You know, I'd like to share all of the knowledge that I have garnered over the decades, you know, about the business of music, because we're so badly needed, because even up to today, the same thing prevails.
It's an industry. It's a lot better now because of the internet. But before, where you were just relying on somebody to come back and tell you something, they wouldn't necessarily tell you anything. Or if they tell you something, it wouldn't necessarily be the right thing that they're telling you, because it's not benefiting them also.
I remember I had a lawyer back in the UK in the early 90s in the same twist and show time, because I ended up having to get a lawyer to try to get some justice out of the same twist and show. And my lawyer, up to this day, my lawyer think I'm a madman, because they wanted me to litigate. And I'm saying, I don't want to litigate because I don't want Mr. Blackwell money. You know, just get me some justice for my work with me do. You know what I'm saying? But I remember my lawyer saying to me, he said, Radix, this is a need to know business. You know, if we don't think you need to know, we're not telling you. So the onus is on you to need to know. So, yeah. Wow, what a, you know, a hell of a game. It's a hell of a game in the muscle. It's a hell of a game. You know, a lot of people see it and think it's an enviable scenario. And, you know, I guess to some degree it could be. But, whoa, it's not pretty. I mean, and it's cut right across the board, because this happened to Jimi Hendrix. You know, this happened to, you name it, you know, it crossed the board. It's not a black thing or a white thing, or a, you know, it just artists in general. You know, art is the love business, but the business of art is not lovely.
And that's what a lot of people understand. There's a clear separation between being an artist and being an artist that's in the business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Even around the same time there, when you did Twist and Shout, you did another song that was basically in the same vein. Steely, Sly and Robbie, they produced this one also. It's called In Her Kiss with Gwen Dickey and Red Dragon. How did you come up with that one there then?
Well, like I said to you earlier, Sly and I used to talk about 3 songs. Twist and Shout, it's In Her Kiss, and Mockingbird. So actually, It's In Her Kiss was supposed to be the follow-up of Chaka Demus Pliers, them doing something with me for my album. At the point when we was ready for the Island Records, said them no want Chaka Demus, them no want covers, and start Draft Your Card. So we ended up with Red Dragon and Gwen Dickey, which was like, wow, as far as I was concerned. And so, yeah, that was on my Sony album, because like I said, you know, Twist and Shout, I got that deal with Sony in Frankfurt. But then the politics was that at the time, when that was supposed to be released, was Diana King, Shy Guy, Shabba Maxi, Michael Jackson history, you know, so we basically get blown out of the water with all of them big guns that roll from America, because we were signed to Germany.
Okay, so then that was when you were, how many albums did you do on Sony?
1. It was supposed to be 2, but basically it was 1.
You're doing your stuff there. So talking about Germany, another major connection that you had in Germany was Gentleman. How did you connect with Gentleman? How did all of that happen there?
Well, my publisher, who was Munich-based, he called me and said to me, Radix, there is like a reggae fraternity in Cologne, Germany, and they hear that you're there and they would like to meet with you. So I said, okay, no problem. So I met with them. And out of that, within that camp was Gentleman. And so we had a nice little vibration, and I was doing at the time I was signed to EMI, and I was doing my EMI album, and I liked the way, Gentleman sounded, so I did a duet with him for my EMI album, which was called Too Bad. And so then he subsequently got a deal with Sony and wanted me to work with him. So I remember his first two albums, I did 3-4 songs, And I remember on his third album, he said to me, "Boy, Mr. Radix, I hear a song them the people them loving them. Why you do not 2 or 3 songs, why you do the whole album." And so that was his album called Confidence. And so that was his first actual gold album. And yeah, the rest is our story.
Because I know you worked on that album, you worked on the other 2 albums also. It was really 4 of them that you worked on.
Yeah.
You guys worked for about 8 to 10 years you guys were working for?
Absolutely. That's on the money there.
And how was that whole journey in now? This is another chapter for you now where you're more penning for another artist because you're usually penning for yourself or doing covers. How was that now penning for somebody and even somebody that's almost from another country that speaks another language, but this is what they love also? How was that experience for you?
It was almost. It was actually a wonderful experience, mostly because here what Gentleman afforded me. Songs that I couldn't write for myself, or I wouldn't, because of the way the machinery is structured, it wouldn't be accepted. Them wouldn't take it from me, but them take it from Gentleman. So yeah, for me it was like wow. I had a chance to how shall I say, to see things from a distance. And yeah, it was. I actually quite enjoyed it. It was enjoyable because I'm a star, and so I got a chance now to be a star maker. So that was like wow, because I remember I went on tour with him. I would go on tour with him sometimes, and when he turn around and he see me back there, I say pam pam, you see all the muscle in my neck back a twitch, I think I come here and say yes, give it to them, man. Yeah, so. Yeah, it was a nice experience, I'll say that.
Because you guys won. You did a lot of sales. That was some of them were gold sales and some were also platinum at that time too.
And the project did really well. Yeah, did really well. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So then what was, after you did all this stuff with Gentleman, you did a lot of great stuff with him. What was your next moves now as you as an individual, as an artist? What were your next moves?
Well, which is what I'm doing now. I'm just doing Radix. I'm still putting out stuff. I did The Watershed, which is an album, which is a sound faculty production, which of totally original material, which spawned the genre R&P, because I was just tired of the same old, and I just wanted to do me. So I basically just been doing me.
Because I think on The Watershed, that was the one that had the music video where the girls, I think it was 4 or 5 girls you were talking to in the club, and they kept leaving you for a different man all the time. You couldn't get hold of them.
Make you mine, correct. Make you mine. Yeah. That was a funny one. Yeah.
How did you even come up with the concept for that video and everything there?
Well, I'd have to give my manager credit on that one because I just showed up for the shoot, basically. But yeah, Make You Mine actually was on my EMI album, which had spawned the single No Matter. And I actually re-released it on my sound faculty thing in America. So yeah, because I don't know if you're familiar with that song, No Matter.
Of course, it has visuals also. You have a music video for it.
Yeah, which we shot in Havana. So that was a good one because that is where R&P started.
because with that, you have two versions of that. You did two visuals for that song there, one with another group and one by yourself.
Of the song, yeah. So we did a different video for that.
Mm-hmm. What made you decide to shoot it in Havana at that time there?
Well, actually, it was the producer of the video that made that decision, because I actually had wanted to shoot it in South Africa.
Okay.
Because that song I made with South Africa in mind. But he had a better economic situation in Havana, so he basically conned me and told me that the lighting was poor and so blah, blah, blah. But it was a nice experience. Havana was a nice experience still, so yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a big one, especially as you said, this was not your regular reggae type of vibe. This was a totally different vibe, and it did amazing at that time there too.
Oh yeah, No Matter is my most successful individual work in terms of chart, action and all of that, which for me is like, because like I said, I make music. I always say to people, refer to me as a Jamaican artist, but don't necessarily refer to me as a reggae artist, because I make all kind of music, not just reggae, and while I would never turn my back on reggae or disrespect reggae or anything, because reggae is my bloodline, is my foundation. At the same time, I like to think that I am more than that. You know what I'm saying, mostly. So yeah, I'm also refer to me as a Jamaican artist. In a Jamaica, what's the motto? Out of many, one. So we do many things, and there's still one thing.
Okay, so then even that's a good thing you brought up. Out of Jamaica, there's many as one. When did your looks actually work for you instead of against you?
That's a good one. Well, actually, out in the world, it works. I would, from time to time, I get, comments like, "Oh, are you sure you're Jamaican, Radix? Oh, it's so good to meet a Jamaican we can have a conversation with." And while that's very flattering, it's also very disheartening, because I'm saying, look at the perception of my nation. You know what I'm saying? And my fraternity. But yeah. Anyway, I have a new single coming out, which is called Pushing Love. And that's what we do, because the essence of music is to push love, yeah? So that's what's going on. It's Pushing Love, and it's a Sound Faculty production, and it'll be out first thing in the new year, and Entertainment Report shall have it.
All right. And what I like with that song, because I got a sneak peek of it, I love the bass in it. It's like you brought back the bass back into music. It sounds like a real rounded song. Like, okay, I see where Mr. Radix is going with this.
Absolutely, man, because, the more things change, the more them remain the same. And, if we're going to do something, do it. Mm-hmm. That is me. That's my philosophy. So, now do it.
Yeah. Last question I got for you here. You've had this career from in the 70s until 2021. When would you say have been the highest point in your career, and when has been the lowest point in your career thus far?
Well, the lowest point was the 80s, and the highest point would have been the 90s. The 90s. It took a little lull at the turn of the millennium, but a lot of things did. But we back up. Everything is coming back on stream, and it's all good. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the new millennium for as long as I breathe.
You understand. If they want to check you out on social media, they want to stream your songs, I'm pretty sure if you do dub plates and all this, where could they check you out?
JackRadicsMusic.com, where you will find everything radical JackRadicsMusic.com, and yeah, stay tuned, because there's a lot of music to come.
We're going to see you in 2022. And again, I'm going to tell you in advance, happy birthday when it comes, because I know we're a couple days out from your birthday, you understand?
Thank you, brother. And you know, I've not been to Canada since 1993. So as soon as the pandemic is over and we can get back to playing music, I want to be there because I remember having some good times in Canada.
Definitely, I'd look forward to, and I'd love to sit down with you in the studio where I am and have a great conversation because there's so much in your mind that we'll definitely love to hear.
We can definitely do that. We just need to coordinate it. So I know I need 2 hours for muscle. So yeah.
You understand, Mr. Radix, this conversation has been so epic. If there's anybody you want to big up, anything you want to say, the floor is yours before I get you out of here.
Big up Tanya Mullins, my friend in Canada. And big up and Bono to for Bono. That's how I can say. And Joe Isaacs, I'm my next friend in Canada. Big up Joe Isaacs. And yeah, just, you know, let your arise and eat and scatter. What else can I say?
For sure. Big up Miss Knight, your management, for making this happen. Thank you so very much. Let me give you an outro and get you out of here.
All right. Excellent.
All right.
Big up Miss Knight.
You understand. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Muscle, and this has been another Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast, and we are out.
This podcast is brought to you by www.twolinesmusichut.com.